Well, good morning. I'm down near Lake Samsonvale today. It's a beautiful place. It's a downhill walk for me this morning, but when I come back, it'll be an uphill walk. Today, I am chasing kingfishers. Sacred kingfishers to be exact. And you might ask, why am I targeting sacred kingfishers? Well, they're nesting. A good mate of mine, Chris Gibson, has been out here photographing them. And he sent me a message. He said, Charles, I know you like sacred kingfishers, especially when they're flying in and out of the nest. He said, remember last year at Tichitamba, we got some great photos of them flying in and out of their nest. So hopefully I'm going to be able to get some nice photos and some video. And that's why I'm saying I'm targeting just one species. And I'll talk a bit later about why sometimes just targeting one species is such an advantage to you, because you don't get distracted by trying to think, oh, what other birds can I photograph? You've got a one track mind on that day. Now you probably notice I'm in a better mood today. Last time I was in a little bit of a depressed, sour face mood. Let's keep moving and see if we can find these kingfishers, eh? So the termite mound is just in front of us here. Chris mentioned that it was around 300 metres down the track on our right. And that's where we've come from. And we're about 300 metres down the track. And it's just a matter of setting up and waiting for them to come back. Well, I'm all set up. I've got my camera, the Nikon Z6 II with the 200 to 500, my artist tripod with the Photo Pro fluid head set up. Now this is where I don't want to use a monopod, because when I use a monopod I move around. I'm not moving at all today. So the tripod is much better than the monopod today. Let's hope that I get some nice photos and some video, because today's video is all about targeting one species. And for me, that is targeting these sacred kingfishers today. Well, I've been set up for nearly half an hour now. I've gotten two sets of photos. I want to show you the difference between continuous high extended, 14 frames per second, and just continuous high at 5.5 frames per second. The continuous high was taken just when I got here, because I hadn't swapped over yet to continuous high extended. And I only got 3 frames. With continuous high extended, look how many frames I got at the same focal range. This is why for action birds, especially for a bird that's coming in and out of a nest, or if you're chasing an egret that's going to dive for a fish, you really want as many frames as possible. Now I'm in video mode, because the next time the kingfishers come here, I want to capture some videos. I'm taking video in 4K at 50 frames per second. The kingfishers just flying so quickly and so quickly out that in post-processing, I can reduce the speed by a minimum of half and still not get any degradation in the video. So that's why I'm shooting at 50 frames. There he goes. That's it. Wow. Maybe 3 seconds. That's it. And he's just up here now. This is why it pays that you learn the behaviour of birds. Learn the behaviour of the birds that you're targeting. Once you start seeing a common behaviour, there he goes. What? Feed. Okay, maybe 4 seconds in and out. And like I was saying before, he's just in the branch here. I quickly move the camera. Wow, number 3. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm in silent photography mode. Gotcha. Let's get some photos. Wow. This is something that I do, and you probably do too, and then you kick yourself. You're so excited about taking the photos, you quickly want to see the photos you've taken, and that's what I just did. I said, oh okay, he's gone in twice already, this will be the last time. I want to see if I got the photos. Now I'm shooting it silent photography mode, continuous high extended, so 14 frames per second, or close enough. I'm trying to scroll back and seeing. I was so lucky that the kingfisher was calling, so as soon as I heard him, I just pressed the shutter button down. I know it's on fixed focal length, but if he hadn't called, I would have missed. So wait till you get home, or wait till you're packed up and look at them in the car. Don't do it while you're taking photos like me. This is why I like sharing my experiences, because I want to show you that sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we just get carried away. I'm already very happy. I've got some video. I've got some photos, and at the start of the video I was saying I was targeting one species today, sacred kingfishers nesting. I've been here for about an hour now. I'm going to stay here a little bit longer. We like walking around taking a lot of photos of different birds when we go out. But why don't you think about just targeting one species every now and then? Make it your goal, saying, okay, today, for example, I'm going to Sandy Camp. There's a lot of birds around. At the moment, we've got sacred kingfishers nesting. We've got wood swallows nesting. So many birds are nesting. Just say, okay, well, I'm going to target the wood swallows when they're coming in, feeding their chicks. You would get an enjoyment, and you're going to learn something very different than just walking around. You're going to learn to concentrate, to be ready for when the parents come in to feed their chicks. Yes, it might be a bit boring because there might be quite a bit of time between the feeding times. But you're going to get photos that other people aren't going to get, because they might just stop and, oh, baby wood swallows in the nest. Take photos. And you go like, oh, I've got an hour here, I've got to walk around, get a lot of photos of birds. What are they going to miss? They're going to miss the chance of catching an image with the adult wood swallow just before it lands on the nest. And the baby is just squawking out. If you take photos or you're taking video, wow, imagine the video that you can get would be amazing. I've got some good video. I'm going to set myself up over there and try to get photos of the kingfisher itself just sitting on the perch. And also hopefully get some photos as he's leaving the perch, and that will be interesting to see. Let's move. So what I'm doing, I'm setting myself up between trees in the shade at about the same distance so that I'm not going to spook him too much. So this is how I'm set up at the moment. I want to get a couple of photos of the kingfisher itself. So these are the three branches that I'm talking about. You can see the main one here, the really long one. It's not going to land on that. The one just about in the middle here, this is the one that it lands on sometimes. That's where I'm focusing. But the last three times, oh, it's getting close, I've got to move. That's the one he's landing on. I've got a branch just in front of me. Man, this is such a pain. I didn't notice that. I've got him right in the right-hand side of the frame. So I'll get a little bit of movement as he's flying away. As you saw, I had a great morning. I took 3 sets of photos of this sacred kingfisher coming in and out of the nest, feeding its young. But when I got home, I realized that I had made a very big mistake. The mistake that I made was that I set my camera up to face directly at the nest. This was a huge mistake on my part. As you can see in these photos here, it's feeding its young. It turns around, it's in focus. The next image, it's already moved closer to me and it's out of focus. And by the next frame, it is totally out of focus. Here again, it's feeding its young, but by the time it turns, it's already out of focus. And not only is it out of focus, but the kingfisher is overexposed. I thought I had controlled the highlights correctly, but the sun was shining on the bird as it was leaving the nest, and I didn't count for that. I was very disappointed when I got home that I didn't have that many photos of this sacred kingfisher coming in and out of the nest. So the next day I went back, but I didn't go back in the morning because I was concerned that I was going to have the same problems with trying to control the exposure of the kingfisher as it came out of the nest. And this is how I was facing the nest this morning. Next afternoon, when I came back, this is how I set myself up. Now the sun is on the opposite side of the nest, so it's coming in from the left fairly low because this was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And you can see that the nest is well lit up. On this afternoon, I was there for 2.5 hours and I only got 1 set of photos. All these photos were taken at 500 mils, 1/2 thousandths of a second, f6.3, and because it was quite late in the afternoon, the ISO was 8000. And here you can see the 11 frames
that I got on the second day, even though I only took one set of images of this sacred kingfisher coming in to feed its chicks. I went home very satisfied, and I also went home with an understanding that I've got to pay a little bit more attention to the light of where the light is shining on the nest. What I should have done on the first day is looked at the light, realizing that the light wasn't suitable for photographing this sacred kingfisher feeding its young at this nest, and come back in the afternoon. It was getting very late in the afternoon, around 5:45, so I swapped over to video mode, and then I took some videos of the sacred kingfisher coming in to feed its chicks, and it did this 3 times. And you can see now why in the first video I was saying that I record at 50 frames per second so that I can slow the video down to a minimum of 50% so that you can got a good chance of seeing the bird coming in and feeding its young and then flying away. And in closing, here is a montage of the sacred kingfisher coming in to feed its young and fly away. This is at 14 frames per second, and look how quickly it moves throughout the frame at 14 frames per second.
Thanks for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned that, as you can see, sometimes just dedicating yourself to one species, you can get some great photos. And if you're into video, you can get some great video. How long did I spend? An hour and a half. An hour and a half dedicated to one bird species. And I'm going home with some great photos. Yes, the last set of photos I took, they weren't that crash hot because I'd set my focus point on the nest. And because I was so close, the only photos that are sharp are the ones that the bird is on the nest. But it's so dark and I'm backlit. But that's okay. We live and learn. Next time, I'll try better. But that doesn't take away from the fact that I got some great photos, got some great video. Enjoy your bird photography, and I'll see you next time when I'm out and about. Most likely at Tichy photographing kingfishers, and maybe walking around Tichy. Been maybe a year, maybe 2 years since I've been there, so bye for now.